You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Mistresses After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Mistresses After Show.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Well, welcome, everyone. We are here for your Mistresses After Show. This is Season 2, Episode 10, Charades. I'm your host, Francesca, and I'm here with one of my favorites, the Sterlingster.
I'm so happy to be back again this week.
Yes, thank you.
It's just all of a sudden my new favorite TV show.
It is. Unfortunately, everyone else could not be here tonight, but luckily Sterling came to save the day.
I got you.
Yay. So this episode was so awesome.
Pretty crazy. I'm already attached to all of these characters. Should we get into it? Let's start.
No,
let's go. I don't even want to skip ahead.
My emotions went from like angry to happy to sad to everything this whole episode. It was so great.
I'm pretty sure you teared up a little bit.
Yeah,
not to embarrass you.
I don't cry, guys. So Karen, let's start with Karen. Anna stayed the night at her house.
That's really weird, right? Like for Karen to do that as her therapist.
Right.
It's really inappropriate.
I feel like she's constantly, bordering the line between therapist and like caring, like more personal, caring too much.
Right.
And I don't know. I just, so first we see Anna wakes up at her place there. And then later Anna calls and she's freaking out, having a panic attack or whatnot in her apartment.
Right. What did you think about that? Do you think that it was just an anxiety attack, or do you think that she had taken some medicine or overdosed on something? Because it definitely seemed like
weird.
There was more to it than just an anxiety attack.
Yeah, I don't know, because of her past when we first met her in the emergency room, and just kind of she's done things, she's hurt herself. Like, I don't know. But also, if you're by yourself, alone in a country, and you live in that, like, to use Karen's word, crappy apartment.
Right.
Like, all we heard in the background were sirens and, like, you knew that was a trashy part of town.
Right.
I guess every now and then you might get a little anxious.
Yeah. The part that I found interesting was when she asked to take a shower or clean up a little bit before she goes to work when she's at Karen's apartment. What do you think Karen had to go move? I was thinking about that the whole episode because she made a point of saying, sure, let me just go move some things around. And I was wondering if that potentially could have been drug-related or like prescription-related, because since she is a therapist and can prescribe those drugs, and then later she's all of a sudden in this like panic attack, I feel like maybe she thought that Anna could potentially take drugs from like her medicine cabinet or from her... Yeah, I guess something like that.
Definitely didn't even think about that. I know we both were like, why did she say that? Maybe she had like a pink loofah she was embarrassed about. She had to move. No, but that makes sense. Or maybe there was raised, like, a razor or something.
Yeah,
I mean, who knows?
It could have been that.
Yeah, I mean, they clearly made a point for her to say that. So.
But then they never addressed it again, so we don't know exactly what she could have been rearranging in the bathroom.
Beats me.
That could have been it.
Beats me. And then she did something else, too, that we were kind of wondering why. When she was leaving Anna's apartment, she stared at that pole thing.
Pipe,
Yeah. So, I mean, the only thing that made me think of would be that, there is health issues in that apartment, or maybe there's some gas, or maybe something it's making, affecting her health.
Oh, that could be it. Yeah, like a gas leak or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that really was a weird shot they did of just the pole down the wall. It's just like, okay.
Stripper? Anyway. No. So she has her come and stay at her place. And like we said, that's a little weird and awkward.
Yeah.
She's clearly crossing the therapist
Yeah, I feel like
line.
she just has this big need to fix everyone in her life. And Savvy talked about that a little bit in a completely different situation, but I thought it kind of related to Karen a little more, just because I feel like it's just not healthy for her as a therapist to want to fix every single one of her patients and to get so close on that personal level with them isn't good for her as a therapist or for the patients.
Right, because then you start to make it personal to you, and that interferes with your reasoning and judgment.
Yeah, but I guess Jacob likes that about her.
That's why he loves her.
Right, exactly.
What? I knew Jacob was gonna pop back up again, because especially in the morning when they were having breakfast or whatnot, Jacob calls. But did Anna say, "Oh, I don't care if you talk to"? Did she say something?
Yeah,
like that?
she said that. Well, she saw that he was calling, and then she said, "It's okay, you can answer it." And then Karen just kind of brushed it off that she would call him back later.
Yeah. So I feel so that I guess Karen's character right now is really confusing to me.
Yeah.
I know we were just discussing this, that it's just a little weird, because especially bringing Jacob back into it, not only do you and your patient have this relationship with Jacob, but now you invited her to your house. Now she's staying in your house, and now you're going to be like, well, I'm going to break the rules and I'm going to kiss you. Like, you're just making this more complicated still, don't you think?
Right, exactly. So this is ignorance on my part, because since I'm not that familiar with the show, but what is Karen and Jacob's history there? Like, are they co-workers, or why would it be breaking the rules for them to have a relationship?
I don't know why she said that. I'm a little hazy. I'm a little, hazy about Jacob from last season. I know, he said we were in grad school, remember, so-and-so's.
Right.
So they were in grad school, and I think they started out together. And he was the one, I believe, that brought something up about when she was getting too involved with her last patients last season.
Right.
So that's that. So that's why I was saying the only reason I would think that he would say that or she would say that rather, would be because now she has Anna in her house. I don't know. Do you like Jacob for her, or is it kind of random that he's back all of a sudden? It's kind of random to me.
Yeah.
It
is what it is.
So since, like I said, this episode was a lot of emotions for me. What was your emotion with Karen as a whole this episode?
I don't know, because I was so much more invested in the other storylines, particularly April's. So I just didn't really think about Karen that much. I really did think it was I don't like this whole thing with Anna. Like, I just feel like it's weird, and there's a lot of unanswered questions there.
Yeah.
Like, what exactly is Anna's deal? We never really find out this episode, so maybe they'll talk about that next week.
Yes. I hope so.
And with the whole Jacob thing. I don't know. It's weird to me that Jacob was involved with both him and Anna. I mean, with Karen and Anna.
He has a thing for Korean ladies.
Yep. Seems like it.
Well, Scott rather, has a thing for Joss.
Yes. Scott and Harry have a thing for Josh.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they're both the hottest guys on the show, so she has one lucky girl.
So your emotion would be jealousy with Joss.
Right. Well, now that she's engaged, I can maybe swoop in there with Harry. Is that his name?
Yes, sure. Harry.
Yeah.
I think I could picture you with an Australian guy, Sterling.
Yeah, that seems about right.
So Harry finds out that Joss is going to be going to meet the family, and he naturally decides to freak her out.
Yeah. Well, because he wants to get inside of her. I don't know if he did it intentionally, but the way it came across is that he got inside of her head. It definitely made her overthink this whole situation.
Right.
And he knows her better than probably most people do. So everything he said, and she agreed with this later, is that he was right about everything he said. That she probably shouldn't drink, or that she makes inappropriate jokes and all that stuff. So it's like things that someone that's super close to you would only know.
Right. I don't think at first it was intentional, but I think once he started, spilling it out, he realized how flustered Joss was getting, and he was kind of like,
yeah.
Somewhere inside of him was like, yes.
Well, he did call to apologize the next day when she was already there. I really don't think she had much to be nervous about, though. She got along really well with the family. For his grandma turning 97, she looked pretty active.
Yeah.
She looked pretty great. Gotta say that.
Either really good plastic surgery, or she's been eating, grains and oats and keeping her vitamins close by for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that family, that was just intense. They opened the door, and it was like a flock of sheep, like, hi. I love
Yeah,
them.
can you imagine? That would be.
I'd be super
Very-
nervous.
Yeah, but it turns out like he obviously really loves her. They get along. She got along really well with his family. I loved how his mom bought her the soap, and she
Right.
got the soap dish. Did she end up giving it to them though?
I don't know. I feel like that would have been the perfect time to bring it out though. But I think, yeah, that was really cute, and I like that they put that in because it just shows that you be yourself.
Yeah.
You never know, and just naturally, she got a soap dish, like Eleanor Roosevelt soap dish.
Yeah.
And the mom got soap. It's like kind of weird. It's like kind of meant to be.
Meant to be, for sure. It definitely seems like a fun family. I think it was very obvious that he's close with his family, and she never really had that. Her and Savvy really never had that experience. So that's probably why she was so overwhelmed with the idea of meeting literally 1,800 people in his family.
Yeah, and I like though when she came home after, or she was at the house wherever Harry was, and Harry asked how it went, and he the line that he said, maybe he was just waiting for you his whole life.
That was really sweet.
That was touching.
That's the part you cried a little bit, I'm pretty sure.
I was like, oh my god, because it almost felt like he was saying that to her,
Right.
about himself.
Yeah, I definitely got that too. Like, I think he's so smitten with her, and I think since last week when she kind of brought up that Scott doesn't like that they spend so much time together, I think that he's kind of been thinking about it since that conversation. He's like, oh, wait, do I have feelings for her? I think they're not strong enough, though, to where he could make a move.
I feel like they're really strong because this whole season I've been like, oh my god, Harry and Joss,
happening.
it's gonna happen. But maybe now he realizes how much, because we see how much she really likes Scott, because we see her break it down in her head, like why he's perfect, like why would he blah blah blah, just normal self-sabotaging.
Right.
Just people are so used to things never working, or just negative thoughts like, this is too good to be true. Nothing's ever perfect, and this is just perfect.
Yeah. To me, I don't think she's overthinking her relationship with Scott because of whatever feelings she might have for Harry. I literally just think that she's overthinking the whole thing with Scott because it's moving so fast. And she even said that she doesn't do serious relationships. She never really has, and never really been able to let herself open up to that point.
Right.
So I think she does love Scott though, and they make a really great couple.
They make a cute couple, and you called it when he walked in with the shoes.
I was like, he's about to propose. I don't even know why I thought that.
You're just a
But
genius.
I was like, she's putting the shoe on. There's going to be a ring in there. And then there was. I feel like I should have written this episode. That's probably what.
Probably. I mean, when that happened, like I said to you when we were watching, it made sense because, of course, naturally, when he was playing charades, the title of this episode, Charades.
Yeah.
He's like, wedding fingers pointing up, and the guy was like, Middle Earth is down.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like a little foreshadowing. But, oh my God, he proposed.
Yeah. Do you think that that's moving really fast for their relationship? Or I think once the grandma and the mom all loved her and adored her, that it was kind of like it was all kind of coming together.
It was all
for
coming
him.
together. I mean, we don't. It does seem kind of fast, but when with shows, we don't really know what the real timeline is.
Yeah.
For example, really quick to break into Dom. Dom was saying when Tony came to the office, he was like, so about the other day, but then Savvy was like, you didn't answer my call last night. So you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like the timing
exactly.
is weird. I don't know, whatever. But for Scott's mom too to say, I've never seen my son so happy. Like everything just felt perfect.
Yeah. And he seems like such a perfect guy. I mean, he has a great job. He likes shoes, I guess, is what I've learned. I don't know what
He
that...
likes his women wearing shoes.
I don't know if that contributes to his personality. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, but he seems like he has a lot of stuff going for him. And she had a good point about feeling a little self-conscious about, well, why is this guy still single? He's such a great catch, all this stuff. But really, when Harry said, maybe he's just been waiting for you, I was just like, oh, come on. It's such a good moment.
Who's going to say that to me?
Great.
Whatever.
Should we move on to Savvy?
Yeah, they had quite the opposite thing going on this time.
Yeah.
I really liked them this episode because I've always felt like Savvy and Dom don't really work, and I wanted them to, just because I like Dom so much, even though people pointed out on the YouTube comments, which we appreciate you guys commenting. We love reading everything. Someone said, why are you guys mad that he slept with Tony? Because he put his moves on Savvy the whole time when he knew Savvy
was in a relationship.
Was married in a relationship.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. But I really wanted Savvy and Dom to work out, but it just didn't feel right. It didn't work. And the whole time Savvy was not being emotional, not sharing with him, not really connecting on that level. And finally this episode they did. And they did enough to realize that
that's not going to work. Do you think their breakup is for good, or do you think there's any chance they can rekindle that connection?
I don't know.
I feel like they really do genuinely, I guess, love each other, but care about each other enough. And I liked their conversation this time, because I felt like, even despite the whole Tony situation, despite the whole Zach stuff, all the past, they were very open and they were very mature about their conversation. She was upfront to him about what these issues are that she's had with her dad, talked about all of her daddy issues, and so she did what he asked her to do. And I just wish that he had been upfront with her about the whole Tony situation, as opposed to her figuring out through work,
through the grapevine.
Yeah,
I know. I completely agree, and that's the same thing I said when I were watching. I'm like, come on, just tell her.
Yeah.
But they were talking about them, and you could see how excited Dom was to hear her finally open up. And I know for a minute he realized, oh great, I know Tony's not going to say anything, so this is going to work. This is going to work. But clearly, we all know you shouldn't trust
Tony. She is just out. But he really put two and two together when she walked into the other partner's office, came out. I was like, she just told HR, that little snitch.
Rhymes with snitch.
Yeah, it does. But anyway, but it is not a surprising move on her part, though.
Not
everyone
at all.
knows that's her character. That is not surprising at all that she would do something like that.
However, I didn't think that she would completely make this up out of thin air. I thought legitimately she was planning on moving to a different firm, and she's like, well, you know what? F it. I'm going to go ahead and just do something too.
Yeah, well, it's almost too perfect, though, because he has a history of having sex with a subordinate, someone under him.
Mm-hmm.
He has a history of having relationships with people in the office, that whole thing. So I just feel like, on her part, she loves to, like she said, live a certain lifestyle, and this is something that she can get higher in the ranks from. So when you look back on it, it's just like, oh, well, that makes sense. She chose him. He was the newest partner, most vulnerable, was having lady issues at the time. So it was just like the perfect time to swoop in and really mess up his whole life. That's for sure. But when you think about it too, would partners from a different firm, that whole thing, send flowers and make it that obvious that they're gonna give her an offer? So I didn't find that surprising.
It was weird, because I remember when we saw the flowers the last episode, I was like, I thought she was doing it to make him jealous,
right.
like a guy is doing this for her, and I don't know. She's clearly just manipulative, and. Why, Dom, did you do it?
I don't know. But when they were in the elevator, we kept saying this, record it, record their conversation. Because she literally just said her whole plan, and you got to know that's going to happen. So I really hope that I don't know if he did, we didn't see in this episode, but I really want him to have that material against her. But I thought that he was going to go to Savvy's house that night and play her the recording. That would have been ideal. But I guess that's not going to happen.
No, I wish that had happened to myself. I wish that too. But no, it didn't. And what did you think about when she was talking with April? Was it April about being gray? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, okay. So her whole thing with Zach wasn't a physical cheating per se. It was definitely a very emotional situation. And I talked about this a little bit when we were talking about Karen, about having the need to feel like you need to fix everyone. And as opposed to how Dom doesn't need her financially, doesn't need her to fix any of his problems. doesn't need anything from her. He just is in love with her. So I think that's a much healthier relationship there than, than her, whatever she had going with Zach or whatever, to where she feels like she needs to fix that relationship. I thought April was right, though. Like, I think they both screwed up. Whether or not it's equal or not, it's still cheating. It's really just a matter of perspective at that point.
Right.
If she can get over the fact that he slept with Tony.
Right. And she did. And I was actually really surprised that she just let it go that easily. But however, she does have her history with cheating and, Harry and Dom and even this emotional stuff with Zach. So I could understand that she let it go, but she really let it go.
Yeah.
And again, they finally, like we already said, they were honest with each other. And it was just literally just so heartbreaking for him to just be like, I guess.
I know.
Was this ever going to work?
Yeah. Because when they held hands there for a second, I thought, oh, okay, we got over this. Everything's going to be good. But then he said, were we doomed from the beginning? And I was just like, well, we kind of were, because you started on very different pages. She was married, the whole thing. But I did like what he said about how it was never about them for her. Like, it was always about, he was never really in the back of her mind when all this stuff was happening. Whereas for him, she's all he thinks about. And I thought it was a really good point what he said about when she asked when he was with Tony, was he thinking of her? And of course he was. Like, he was doing it out of spite, out of anger, because of what she had done. So I thought that was good that he was honest about that and wasn't kind of like, oh, it meant nothing. Like, you weren't in the forefront of my mind. Because really, if she wasn't, that would be even more messed up if he wasn't thinking about her.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I know, it's so sad. I love Dom as a character, and that was just touching.
Yeah.
And heartbreaking.
I mean, I'm not going to, support him because he did cheat, but at the same time, they were on a break, not broken up. But I don't know.
That's such a
gray area.
Yeah, that's just a completely different. I mean, we could go for hours talking about that because, like you said, a break versus not being together. But technically, if you're a break, you're not together. But that's why I personally, just to sidebar for a little bit, I personally don't believe in breaks.
Right.
Either you're with someone or you're not with someone.
Exactly.
You're working it out together while you're together, or you're not.
Right. No, I agree with that completely.
What did you think about his partner or his whomever that guy is, the partner, the boss? He was so, he's sitting there on his phone.
Yeah,
like,
he just,
can you just hurry up?
care.
Let's do this.
My impression of that was that this guy's been through that before. He has probably had a few sexual harassment cases of his own. So I felt like he was just, his kind of attitude towards it was, just go to the seminar, get this over with, we'll move on, blah, blah, blah. Whereas he didn't seem very concerned. But that first look he gave Dom originally when she first walked out of his office was kind of like, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But then he didn't really seem to care later. So I don't know.
And I thought it was really dramatic too, how everyone in the office was just like giving him this look, because with the whole thing with him and Savvy, people, it clearly was not the same kind of look. I guess maybe because now this is two people technically.
Yeah.
But it was just so dramatic.
Yeah.
And little Tony's just prancing around like.
Right. But are people in that office surprised that this is coming from someone like Tony, who is obviously in it for the attention? I don't know. She's annoying.
She makes me mad. She makes me really mad. She plays her character very, very well.
Yeah, but how does she expect to go up in the ranks if she, at this company, if she just keeps
playing dirty?
Yeah, and just setting people up. That's exactly why he needed to record that conversation.
Yeah, well,
we could have told him that.
Right, exactly. Come on now. Well, I feel like we could talk what we think can happen in predictions for sure with that one. Let's go to the last character. Let's go to April's story.
Yeah.
I thought hers was going to be kind of boring, and it ultimately ended up to be a jaw dropper. Just end the episode with a great thing. So we see right from the beginning, she opens the door, and it's that guy that's been stalking her.
And I said this last week.
Yes, you did.
I was like, okay, this could go two ways. Either he's like someone that's like out to get her ex-husband or her husband and is a bad guy, or he's a good guy and he's like a cop that's like trying to find him and look at him. And he was. And I was just like, I've never seen the show before. I got so excited. Yeah, it was pretty loud.
See, it was an emotional show for you too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we find out that Paul's working, with this drug lord from Cuba here.
Casually.
Cuba. And that he offered him, a new identity and stuff like that if he helped him, with all his drugs and his finances.
Yeah, it's a computer.
Yeah. So he's dealing with all this stuff. So, they're saying, the detective or whatever, the FBI agent was saying, we're trying to find Paul to get this other guy. But you have Karen who puts it together. I didn't even really think about that. Well, at first when he said, we haven't been able to find him until he called you.
Right.
And for a minute I was like, huh? That doesn't make sense. But then I didn't put it together until Karen put it on the table for us.
Yeah. Randomly. She's like, I was thinking about this last night.
Right.
But yeah, it obviously had to be something through April, because if they had a bug or whatever on his phone, they would have been able to find him by now. Yeah, they should have been able to trace it. So it's obviously through her on her end, which is kind of terrifying because, first of all, she hasn't even really agreed to help them out. And they've already been in her house and bugged
I know.
it, like with all, and even in her daughter's room.
That was crazy. Like in the daughter's room. Like that's just, this is a whole nother topic. The whole, security, I'm blanking on not social security, but like
FBI?
Just like with the government security and like where does it draw the line between, private and personal and stuff like that. But yeah, in her daughter's room, and I'm thinking, how did they get into her house?
Yeah. Well, what I first thought of because this isn't true because we see it at
National
the end.
Security. Sorry. There you go. I'm so sorry.
Just came to you. But this isn't true. But when I saw the episode, and I thought when Karen was saying they bugged your house, this whole thing, I was like, well, maybe this FBI agent is a fake FBI agent. Like he just has this fake badge and like the whole thing, and they're really just part of the drug cartel that's trying to track him down. But at the end, we see her go to the FBI, and he's there. So that obviously isn't
I know.
true.
I thought that same thought for a second too.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. The whole thing is crazy because, last week when you guys were telling me he faked his own death and he started this whole new identity and all this stuff just because he had cheated on her and then started this new family. I was like, there's got to be another reason that he is trying to escape this. That's something you can deal with. But so it kind of makes more sense that he's involved in this huge drug cartel and all this stuff is happening, because that's not only dangerous for him, obviously, but for April, Lucy, and then his whole new family he's got going on.
Right. So. Yeah, no, I'm glad that we got that information too, because same thing like you said, it was a little confusing.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole time since this has happened, this whole season, I'm like, why? I don't understand. But I mean, just the biggest jaw dropper ever in this show.
I was just about to say, can we go ahead and talk about
She goes to the FBI offices and
sassy. She was ready to.
Why are you in my daughter's room? And there is Daniel.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Sexy smoldering Daniel.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh.
So he's obviously not only not an artist or whatever he claimed to be, but he's in the FBI and apparently on this case about her husband. So
it has to be, because that's the only logical explanation as to why her house is bugged, because he's been in it. He was able to put.
So do you think it's been bugged for that long?
Yeah.
This whole time.
So
do you think that his feelings for her were real, or do you think he was just doing this planning this whole charade?
Charade. Such a great title, guys. I do think that he genuinely cares about her, but now we realize just how complicated his background in his story really is. This whole time he was saying that he was going home to Vermont, and we're thinking, okay, there's another woman, and we find out there is another woman, but really it's because he's working undercover.
Right.
So is he really married to this other person? That on its own is driving me crazy. Like, wait, so what does the wife know that
he's
you're
an
undercover FBI, like all that? I mean, he was sleeping with April,
Who he's undercover with.
I
feel like he probably went into it and unintentionally fell in love with her. I don't know if he ever like meant to hurt her or meant to get as involved as he did.
I don't think.
But yeah,
he
it's
did
pretty
either.
crazy that he knows all of those intimate details about not only about her husband, but about everything that she talks about with the girls, which is everything.
He knows about everyone's business. Yeah,
See, the thing is, like, I didn't even think about that he was the one who bugged it. Like, I didn't even think about that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the only logical explanation, and I am really, really, really looking forward to see how this pans out, because they left it where she's just standing there in the FBI office just in disbelief, like the rest of us watching.
Right. Well, I don't think this will happen, but I really hope that April doesn't let them take advantage of her just because of, everything that's happened. But also, like, she needs to stand up for herself and for Lucy, because not both of their privacies were taken advantage of or whatever. But at the same time, she kind of has to cooperate with this investigation because of the fraud charges. She could potentially go to jail, the whole thing. So that's pretty crazy that she kind of doesn't really have a choice in the matter.
No, she doesn't. Yeah, and I'm trying to remember. I'm sure she has shared that information or some of it with Daniel already. So I mean, I that's just like, it's even, I think that is like an even more bigger betrayal than finding out you're just dating someone who has a wife.
Right.
To find out
Oh my
he was
God,
like
yeah.
completely using you towards a case. And again, like we said, do you think he really loved her? And he even said a couple episodes back, he came to her shop and said, when this first started, I didn't realize, like, I didn't know that I would fall for you, basically.
Right. That's probably genuine.
And yeah, I feel that it was very genuine. But now we just, like I said, we just realize how complex her storyline is. And
well, what kind of like makes me mad about the whole thing is that I feel like this is really selfish on Paul's part for
his family.
Yeah, well, like, he's like not even there to protect her or Lucy or the whole thing when he is the whole reason they're in this position.
Exactly. And I think we said this last week too. What was the purpose of him even calling her?
Right.
I mean, that you're throwing more wrenches in her path. Like,
Yeah, it was definitely very selfish to even, first of all, get her involved. Like, just stay out of her life if you're just gonna, make it even more complicated at this point. And he doesn't even want to be found. So
no,
I don't know. I just felt like that was really selfish. But
oh my God, that was just the kicker. I'm super excited to see what happens next week. I feel like we should.
Yeah, it looks like April slaps
Daniel.
Yeah.
Woo!
I'm excited for that.
I'm excited too. Let's get into predictions, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I have to think about this for a second.
Let's go character by character.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't even know what to say about Karen. Like, I guess that she's going to just stick with Anna until...
Anna and Jacob, how is she going to juggle that?
I don't know. I feel like her and Jacob are going to definitely become a thing, like, officially. And then I feel like Anna's going to do something cray. And she's either like, stealing prescriptions from Karen. I feel uneasy about Anna staying at Karen's. Like, I feel like that's not going to end well at all.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out where's her storyline going with her staying at Karen's house.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We didn't get that much information this week about that, so.
I don't know. I predict there's going to be some issues, though. Just, like we said, she's crossing the line with her patient, and now she's bringing Jacob back into the picture.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's going to be confrontation somewhere along the way with that. That's the greatest prediction I've ever predicted.
Let's talk about Joss. I feel like there's more to predict here. I think
there's a wedding coming.
I think that she's going to get obviously super excited about marrying Scott, but I think that Harry's going to realize that that she's the love of his life, and he's going to have this whole battle with whether or not he should get involved or whether he should tell her or what.
Yeah,
Do you think he'd interfere with their engagement?
I hope not, because like he said, again, to quote, because this line was just so romantic, maybe he was just waiting his whole life for you. I feel like he should know his boundaries when something's, sacred and special. But like I said, this whole time I've been feeling like something's going to happen with them, but this kind of puts a little stop to that, because I'm like, wait, this is
but that
really
would make
good.
it. But that would make it even more dramatic if something did happen to split up the thing. But I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that Joss loves Scott. So I don't know if she would let that interfere.
Well, then I guess if to play devil's advocate, a way it could go would be, it's just like she was saying, it's too perfect. Why didn't he already find someone? Blah, blah, blah. So she might, talk herself out of it, just self-sabotage.
Yeah.
And end up doing something with Harry.
Right.
And then now
but how do you think Savvy would feel about that?
I mean, that just throws a whole nother thing into the picture.
Yeah.
Clearly, I don't think, I feel like Jocelyn would never step over that line per se, even if she does have feelings. But it would be more so Harry, I feel, to do anything.
Yeah.
So she can't really get mad at Josh. She could just get mad at Harry if anything were to go down.
Okay. I'm going to move on to Dom now. I predict that he recorded the conversation. We just don't know it yet.
I hope so.
I really want that to be the case. But I predict, I don't know. It's hard. I want to say that right now we think that they're done, but I feel like it's going to come back. I don't think it's over for Savvy and Dom.
I feel like it's just gonna keep getting rockier as it goes. I don't think that they're gonna make it. I don't at all. But I really feel like maybe this is where some sort of violence is gonna come into the show, because if I was Dom, I would literally want to kill Tony.
Yeah, you were like, I think he's gonna kill her.
That's
an aggressive prediction.
Just shake her down.
I think he's gonna kill her.
There's gonna be, I feel like if anything, that's gonna be the situation. One of the two character situations where it could get crazy, because I mean last season it was Karen with the son was it the son? Yeah, trying to kill her. Yeah. Whatever. So there was violence there. I feel like this would be where it goes, because clearly Miss, red convertible, I have a lifestyle I want to live. She's not gonna stop.
Right, and I just don't want her to get away with sabotaging these people's lives.
No. So there's gonna be some Karen confrontation, Joss confrontation, Dom. There's gonna be some confrontation. There definitely will be. Lots of confrontation. Yeah, that's my stance on that.
Okay.
Well,
do you have any predictions about April real quick? No,
she's gonna slap Daniel.
She's gonna slap Daniel.
I'm just really excited to see where this goes. This episode was just really, really good. I don't think they can top it. So where can we find you, Stir?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sterling Cates.
Yes, and Twitter, Instagram, XOXOCESCA. Please rate us on iTunes, watch our YouTube, comments, everything. We'll see you next week for the next recap. Thanks, guys. Woo!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.